Hello, Louise. Let's get to your portfolio review. First of all, this shot that you sent is a stunner. It's very, very, very difficult to get even illumination whenever you have a situation where you're photographing people or animals or anything that are backlit. Usually you have deep shadow on the faces and in the front of the person. So in this situation, you have the wonderful dancing of the light in the background with the water. You have really beautiful hair light here, and the whole picture just comes together as a winner. But the real trick is that you were able to maintain exposure in the child's face, and I think it's a great picture. The only thing I would suggest is I feel that maybe it's a little bit too claustrophobic, meaning that I'd like to see a little bit more space here and here, maybe a touch more water down here, and maybe just a little bit more above the head. Otherwise, I can't think of anything I would change. Very well done. I like it. Now let's get to your next one. So this is a black and white treatment. I think it looks great. I think your idea of giving us, the viewer, a black and white is perfect. I would suggest I just want to see a little bit more water down here. Because the water, especially because he's using a shovel, there's something going on as part of the story that he's digging in the water. So let's have a little bit more space here. I will say that your positioning where he's looking into the picture frame, where there's more space in front of his look than behind, is absolutely essential, and you got it. So great work on this as well. And I like your black and white treatment. I think it's a very gentle black and white that you chose, and not harsh at all. It's very pleasant. Okay, so this was it's a real nice shot. I love the light. The lighting's perfect. And these sheds or cabanas, whatever they are, I love how they have colors. Yeah, it's just overall a really nice picture. Let's just take a look at what we have here for our rule of thirds. And it looks like you've positioned the composite, or you made the composition to obey the rule of thirds quite nicely. Now, whenever we have a scenario where we have a slight slope going upward, then the rule of thirds is just a guidepost. You can decide. Like, for example, down here, you are on the rule of thirds with regards to the top of the sheds. And down here, it's sort of nearing the bottom. So I think you did a great job. In fact, I wouldn't change anything with regards to this composition. So most of the physical stuff on the ground is on the bottom third, and the top 2/3 is the beautiful sky. So I wouldn't crop this. I would keep it as it is. And I'm just trying to find something that I would alter or change or edit, but I can't. So good work. I love the shot as it is. Really nicely done. Okay, so this picture here, I'm excited about it for a number of reasons. One, it's a dream of mine to go on a canal boat like this. And I've looked at them that go throughout England and Ireland and Scotland and Wales and all these places. I've always wanted to go on a canal boat, and I'm sure that I will. So this is the one that I want to go on. It looks fantastic. Now, whenever we have a situation where we have overcast skies, I try my very best to avoid seeing the sky whenever it's overcast. The reason being is I just don't like the look. So what I would do for this picture, now this is something we can't correct now, but you could think about this for next time that you're in a situation like this, is that I suggest that instead of a wide angle lens, that you back way up, just walk back if possible, and use a zoom, or also known as you can use a telephoto lens at the zoom. Use a zoom lens at the telephoto setting is what I'm trying to say. So for example, if you have a 70 to 200 lens, then try for a 200. And what you're going to do is make sure you still maintain this grass, get the water, get the lock, get the man, get the boat, get the greenery in the back, but don't get any of the sky. And this is very possible. So what you would do essentially is, of course it's not going to work in this picture, but you would crop or compose the picture so that there is no sky visible. Now, in this, we can't avoid it here. It's going to be there anyway. And in fact, you don't want to do this crop because it ruins the picture. But essentially, you would be wanting to create a picture that doesn't have any sky. This is if it's overcast. But so let's just back out of here. Let's go to the crop that you gave me. Now, as a composition itself, I feel that you did the right thing. The debate that I'm having is, do we include the road or do we not? Now, the reason why the road is valuable is because it's part of the story. We know that vehicles or cows or bicyclists enjoy going along these canals, so that it does have value to the overall story. But I'm just wondering what would happen if we got rid of it. It's very debatable. Now, I personally would appreciate this a bit more, where I don't see the road, and the reason being is I want more of this fellow in the shot, and I want a little bit more relative space in front of the canal boat. So let me back up here. When we have the road, it's good, it's part of the story, but the man is smaller and the boat is sort of positioned in the middle of the frame. However, if we crop the road out, we kind of get a tighter composition, which is usually a bit more effective. And we also can appreciate the boat going into the picture space, which is right here. So that's why I feel that this is probably how I would crop the picture. And it also, in turn, allows us to appreciate the man back here a little bit more. Okay, let's get to your next one. So I really like action sport photography, although I must admit I'm not very good at it. I haven't had much experience with it. But I have photographed mountain bikers and skiers and snowboarders. And what I do find is that unless you're going specifically for the portrait, like the action portrait, it's usually better to have what's called an environmental sports shot. We just need to see a little bit more of the trail. Especially, do you see how we have an S-curve on this trail? I feel that it's a little bit too claustrophobic for my liking. So I would like to see the curve of this S-trail here. And I'd like to see a little bit more around here of this nice S-curve trail. Okay? Now, with regards to the top and bottom, you don't really need any more up here because we just know it's greenery. But I would like to see a bit more trail down here. So if you could just widen the shot for me, I'm able to appreciate the speed of the cyclist and also the environment. Now, the only other technical thing is that it's very difficult to deal with blown out highlights when you're in a situation of great contrast. That's why we would probably, if you were shooting in RAW, this is a JPEG, and that's what I asked everyone to send me as JPEGs, but if this was originally a RAW photo, you just go to your highlights and reduce your highlights so that you would get more detail in the blown out areas. Now, it's not going to work with a JPEG, so that's why we're not going to bother. But that's just a little tip. If you so desire, and if you shot in RAW, then you would just want to reduce the highlights here. If you're wanting to go for an advanced solution, you would go to your brush, make sure your highlights are really low, and then only brush his legs. That's it. Or maybe his arm here. And when you do a selective adjustment, do you see how we can see the red mask? That's when we can adjust specific areas of a picture that are maybe problematic. Again, it's not going to work with a JPEG, so we're just going to avoid this altogether. But If you shoot RAW, excuse me, if you shoot RAW and you have Lightroom CC or Photoshop, then you certainly can do that. Okay, so I believe that is all 5 of your pictures. I really enjoyed going through your pictures, Louise. Thank you for sending to me. Have a great day.